Hello friends, we are going to be looking at the island of Trinidad, in particular a place called Icacos. But first we're going to be in Cedros before we get to Icacos. Now in the last video, because this is a series of videos in order to make this trip, it's a very long trip that I can't make in one video. In the last video we ended around this area. This is the security complex in Bonasse Village. If you turn right, you would go to the police station. By turning left, we go to a dead end and a school. If any of you have had the experience of attending a school, feel free to let me know about it in the comments area of my YouTube channel. I would like to know about that school. Looks well kept, the building that is. I believe it's called Cedros Government Primary. So returning around, you could see the police station on your left. Right behind that is the Coast Guard headquarters. All of these I have videos for, right? So you should have seen those videos, because in a lot of these road trips, I keep to the road and then when I stop, I use a higher resolution to record the area. Right down the left is where I recorded that 360 and another video. Now today it's raining a lot, so I don't know if you're hearing the rain, but if you do hear his song in the background, that's the reason why. So what we are going to do is head back to the road that we need to be on in order to go down to Icacos. I don't know what the name of this road we're currently on. I couldn't find an answer to it on the map. However, we're trying to get back to the southern main road. Now the southern main road is ahead and it turns right. We're passing the road because there is no sign to tell us that that is the southern main road. That's a big beachfront on the left here in Bonasse Village. And if we continue on this road, this would actually take us back to Cedros. So I'm just asking somebody exactly where the southern main road is, because we're not too familiar with this area. And he pointed it out to the same place that I just told you. So in a little bit here, I'm going to turn around. But at least you get to view Bonasse Village. Any of you lived, grew up, visited, once resided in Bonasse Village? There's a mosque in the center there. You could see the top of the mosque there on your left. So like I said, instead of going straight, although you will want to make that stop, you would turn left here to go to continue on the southern main road. So there should be better signage for that there. There's an old church on your left and an access point for the mosque somewhere. Not sure if it's that road or whatever. There's some grounds, a cemetery. It's a small village, but they look like they hold their own. I'm sure they at some point they see a lot of tourists and migrants, or immigrants I should say. Anyway, so this is the southern main road, and this journey will take us down to Icacos. So basically at some point we'll be leaving Cedros. At what point that is, I really can't say. There aren't a lot of markings in Trinidad to tell you where you are. There are mile markings or kilometer markings, which are little stumps on the road to tell you how many kilometers or miles you are from a certain place. But to say, you know, a proper sign saying you are leaving Cedros or you are entering Icacos or anything like that. That's a rare find. You'll see that mostly in built-up areas. However, this part of the trip, while it may appear short on the map, is a long trip, and it's very green. But surprisingly, the roads are not too bad. The only strange thing about these roads is, and yeah, you do have some potholes here and there, is that there's no center lane marking. No center line marking to separate the two lanes. It all looks like if it is one road. They have the borders on either side of the road to tell you no to park there. But yet still there's no center line marking, which is strange. So what that means is you kind of have to guess or average where you are compared to the other car that's coming. And as you know, there's a lot of crazy driving that goes on here in Trinidad. You can see that in my other videos for crazy driving. And because of that, you have to watch yourself. Now let me explain this if you are watching this for the first time. This is actually a trip that started in Port of Spain, and I'm going all the way to the southwest of Trinidad, to a place called Icacos. However, the trip is several hours long, and in order to, better establish a video out of it, I've broken it up to several parts as well. Some of those parts are places we stopped, and some of those are the actual road trip on the main southern main road. So, like part one, I think I started in San Fernando and then went to La Brea to Bonasse Village was the second part, and this is the third part, which is Bonasse Village to Icacos. And of course there will be a fourth part after this video, which would of course be Icacos going back north, which would be the next stop would be Gulf View. So the fourth video to come after this, which would be going back north, would be Icacos to Gulf View. And in that video I take a different path. So if you saw the videos getting to Icacos, including this one, and you wanted to see a different angle, you will see it. Now if you're new to JB's Man Cave, I offer videos that are raw and to give you the feeling like if you were there. Now you see how the road splits? This is a T-junction, I think. I don't know if it really veers right if it's a T-junction, but basically if you had turned right, that would take you to a beach, and I think on the way back, so in video 4, you will see what that's like. Surprisingly, there are a lot of access points to different beaches here. However, each beach has the pros and cons to it. In my experience, the beaches are not like a Maracas or a Las Cuevas or anything like that. They suffer with what can be, in my view, contamination, whether it be natural or man-made. I have other videos about that. Make sure to look for it. So one thing I do in JB's Man Cave is, besides showing you a lot of stuff, is I like to comment on social issues, things that are happening in the country and so forth, kind of like if we were in a truck together. When people go to a destination, they talk about all kinds of things, and that's what I like to do. Now you see in this particular spot, it's very confusing. The sign on the left is hard to read, and so I couldn't tell, do I go straight, do I turn left, whatever. However, the main road looked like if it was turning left, and that's correct. This is the southern main road, despite how it looks. And when I say despite how it looks, you will notice it looks like, I don't know, a road made by the residents, or a road that's not well maintained or looked after by anybody in particular. It looks like an estate road, in other words. There are no road markings, no center line. It's broken up, And so you may think, oh well, this may not be public land, this might be private land. Now we got some hope when we saw those houses. Inside of there are some pretty large houses actually that surprised us. And this is an immense cocoa estate. And when I say immense, I mean really immense. The camera does not show you the amount of coconut trees that are all around us. It goes on for miles actually. Sort of like Manzanilla. Now, as we were driving, because of the way the road looks, we came across this sign on the left. See what it says? Basically, this is private property and whatnot, and we began to wonder, are we going down private property? Because it doesn't look like a main road. Again, it looks like we're going on this private road that is passing through endless coconut trees, which at the time when we turned around here, we thought, okay, this is probably a coconut estate, coconut tree estate, and we are really driving on private land. You will learn later that this is a mistake, and yet still it's not a mistake, and I'll tell you why. We are on the correct road, but we weren't sure. Maybe we were taking the wrong way, and we decided to be safe, let's turn around and take the other road and see where it goes. But I'm glad we did that, because in taking the other road we will end up in Columbus Bay, and if we had just bypassed that, we would have never seen Columbus Bay. So we're sort of turning around here and heading back north. However, for your information, you will know what the road looks like. So even though it looks like a road owned by maybe somebody private or whatever, this is in fact the southern main road, as you have never seen it before. And the truck almost takes up both ends, and that's how small the road is. And you may think, oh well, that's just naivety to the area, but we saw other people also turning around and doing the same thing, because we really weren't sure if this was the actual main road or not. They seem to be establishing a lot of big houses on the right. Some of them aren't finished, but they are large in stature. See where that car just came up? That takes you to Columbus Bay. So we turn left here, and again, poor signage. If that sign was clear and understandable, we would know where we're going. Again, this road also looks like, you know, is it just a private road or whatever? And we stopped this guy to ask him. And most trainings will give you pretty decent directions. Very scenic route though. Lots of coconut trees. This is how a tropical island should look. I wish I could see more of this kind of thing up north, but you only see it in the east and in the south. And when I say south, I mean really far south, like here in Icacos. By the way, we are in Icacos now. Now some of these roads are indeed private, huh? So you do have to watch when you're traveling. On the maps, like Google Maps, it will tell you, it will show you X or Y road, like if it's an access point. But when you get there, you'll see a barrier or you'll see a sign saying this is private property. So just because you see a road on the map doesn't mean it's a public accessible road. So according to the map, for instance, if you follow this road and you turn left, it would take you to another way to get to Icacos. But at the same time, you'll bounce up with a lot of signs saying, this is private property. So sometimes it can get confusing, but at least with my videos, you can see where you're going if you want to make a trip. Some birds there. So this is Fullerton Road. I don't know if it's called Fullerton Village as well. I don't know what the name of this particular spot is. The legend has it that when Christopher Columbus landed here, this was the path towards the north and setting up whatever for the Spaniards. So this all has a historical background to it. Right here there are a lot of mangroves, some swampy areas, and we got a lot of foul smells as well from, not sure what it is, a dead animal or whatever in these areas. Something dies in the bush, but you don't know what it is. So this is Columbus Bay. You can see on the left, for instance, see how it had that barrier? That road takes you to another part of Icacos, but I believe that's through private land. And you can see right here, a lot of cars will park here and stop here because you will notice all the water and sand. That is ripe for sinking a car, getting stuck if you don't have the right tires or probably a 4x4. So we are looking at the entire bay. This bay is really big and can be explored a lot. We only explored part of it. We were trying to ascertain which way to go, left or right. Just looking at the area. If you are coming here, that water there is mixed with sand, beach sand, so you have to be careful. And if it looks like we kind of stall here, it's not that I stall, it's because people are walking up and down. They see a vehicle coming and yet still they choose to walk up and down. So I'm waiting for some of them to pass. Those rocks out there in the ocean, I believe they call them the Three Sisters or the Three Little Sisters or something like that. Somebody was commenting on swimming to there once as a teen and almost losing their life because there are a lot of currents out there. You can check the actual video for that in the comments area to read their stories. Very interesting. That's the thing with beaches in the southern area. They look calm, they look inviting, but sometimes they can be quite dangerous. If not the current, if not the waves, just simply the rocks or whatever's underneath there that you can't see. So you really have to be careful. So people are continuing to walk by, just waiting for them to pass. And I kind of have to drive up onto the grass to avoid that water. And you see all that stretch going to the other point. You can basically walk all of that, but time is always limited with me. I start these road trips and I try to get as much as I can, and sometimes that doesn't allow me to go as far as I can. So I took all the video of this. Make sure to look for the video on my YouTube channel if you want to see what happened when I got out with my camera. So after recording that, we left, and so this was Columbus Bay. Now you know how to get here. And having gotten here, now we realize, okay, to continue to Icacos, we need to go the other way. But you'll see in the video too where I still wanted to make sure that we weren't heading into private people's property. So I stopped to ask somebody. And the weird thing about this too, there was an array of vehicles that just suddenly turned up. It's like they all of a sudden discovered Christopher Columbus. You'll notice they're all vans, pickups, whatever, probably 4x4s. They know where they're going. This looks like a team of people. All heading to the beach. Now, despite all the clouds and that look as though it's going to rain, it does not rain, thank goodness. The day was, had some clouds at some point, but kept sunny. And I'm really glad for that, because from doing these videos for a long time, I've noticed that without sun, or even just a little bit of clouds, it really changes the amount of colors that you can see. Everything can take on this gray, bland appearance if there isn't full sunlight. But the problem with full sunlight in Trinidad is not just the sun, but there's all of the Saharan dust in the air. And with that Saharan dust, it just causes a haze over everything. And it also takes away from the footage, the splendor of the color in the video. But if you're like me, you would love to see all this green. I like when people, for instance, on the left plant crotons. Those are those colorful plants. But here you're seeing village life. This is village life in Trinidad. And one of the key aspects of village life is they do maintain all that green. Despite having all the green around them, you'll notice that people in their yards and around them keep the green. Unlike the people in the north, where they like to get rid of it to the max, including even making their yard all concrete. So you don't even have a speck of grass. I don't understand that. If I had property, I just must have some green somewhere, some kind of plant or something. So I'm stopping to make sure I understand where I'm going. I'm asking that villager. And sometimes too, when you ask directions, if somebody gives you directions, you can always verify by asking another person. If they say the same thing, well then okay, you're good to go. Because sometimes it's been that I ask somebody for directions, and then I go further down, I ask somebody, they give me completely different directions. And then in that instance, I don't know whose word to take for it, so I go on my own gut feeling, or I look for a third person and ask them for directions. Are you the kind of person that stops and asks for directions, or you like to wing it and try and do your own thing? Funny enough, I believe only recently I was reading in the newspapers that a couple was going to a wedding, and they were passing through roads in the southeast of Trinidad, I believe, and they didn't know where they were going and ended up in the bush somewhere in a forested area, and they got lost. And they had to be rescued or something like that. Somehow it turned out. I I don't understand that. Some people just need help, I guess, when they're going wrong. It's easy to get lost down here. You really need to pay attention to the roads and the markings and whatnot. And if you're going to some area, again, like I always say, that you don't know, it's always better to take somebody that knows the area or has been there several times so that they can guide you. If you are a person that's never been to Trinidad before and looking to visit, I admonish you to the max. Please do not venture off willy-nilly, just go in any and everywhere. Always take a guide. Some friend, somebody, if you don't know anybody in Trinidad, then hire a professional guide. That's something that we didn't really have before, but there are a lot of them now. In the old days, it used to be just the taxi drivers would double as tourist guides. But now there are a lot of tour companies giving specific tours everywhere, and they may have guides that can guide you. So this is coming back out to the road where we were confused. Remember that one? And we were wondering if by taking this road on the right, it would take us to some private property. So you notice I didn't take it, right? Because we still weren't sure. So what we decided to do is drive up here a bit and get directions and a confirmation from a second person. Just to make sure that maybe we were on a wrong path altogether and we should have taken another road somewhere. So somewhere on the left there, I'm gonna stop and ask for directions. Meanwhile, you can take a look at the houses around, how they're built. This is how Caribbean houses look. On a smaller scale, I would say these houses are a little smaller than somewhat what you see. That one on the right there, the far white, with the white roof, that's a little bigger. And like anything else, you have some houses that are not complete yet. So with the confirmation that yes, we could have gone down that road that we thought was private because it is public access road. We turn around and we go back. And in turning around, you get to some footage, I guess, right? You get to see what the place is like and the houses, because sometimes as you're driving by, you don't see things as readily as what's ahead. So again, when you're coming along here and you reach this point, that road straight ahead, that will take you to Columbus Bay. And the road on the left is actually the southern main road. We're trying to identify anything on that sign, but you could see how it looks, right? You could hardly see anything on that sign. Somebody needs to maintain it. So continuing on the left will be in fact the southern main road as we turn here. So we continue on. This was the road that we thought, oh, this looks like private. This does not look like the southern main road. And come on, be honest with me, does that look like the southern main road? Because you're accustomed seeing it more in order, no cracks. I mean, yeah, you'll see a pothole here and there, but not so many cracks and potholes, and no lane markings at all. But this is in fact public access road. The signs that we were seeing was the actual coconut trees, meaning that yeah, you could stay on the road because that's public access road, but you can't go into the green area where the coconut trees are. That's private property. But the way they put this sign, it looked like if, okay, you're entering now private property. See how the sign is, right? Makes it look like that, but it's not. So this is the southern main road. In case you ever get lost like us or wander like us, you know what to do. Just keep driving. But again, this footage of all these coconut trees you will only see in two places I know in Trinidad. As here and a place called Manzanilla, which I have another video for. Make sure to look for it. You can always see the pictures of the posters that I'm putting up for you. Some people don't know, but in the search area of YouTube, there's the main search in the top, all the way to the top, which allows you to search YouTube as a whole. So you would be searching billions of videos. Or you can narrow it down by using the second search option, which is below the main search option. Within my channel, you have to go to the home page and you'll see that search option. And that will allow you to search just my channel, so you'll be able to find those videos. Now this is another beautiful part of Icacos, and that is the wetlands, which again I have another video for. And we were really amazed with it. Again, this is the southern main road, but look at how small it is. And we were looking left and right. Really beautiful, huh? I've never seen anything like this in Trinidad. And you may say, well, you could go to Carney Swamp. No, 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 no. This is not like Carney Swamp. And we stopped there for a while. We were looking at the water, the things around, and took footage of it. You can look at that. That water there is black. Literally black water. Very interesting. And check these bikers. We have truck day today and biker day. There's a sign again. Private property. I guess maybe they have people coming and picking all the coconuts or whatever. I don't know. But this again is another beautiful part of Trinidad to look at, and you won't see this elsewhere. Yeah, you'll see something like this in Manzanilla, but even Manzanilla does not have this many coconut trees. Trust me. You can't see it left or right, but sometimes you can just look and the coconut trees just don't stop. Really big estates. You can see the swamp continuing on the right. So all the wetlands. And this still remains the southern main road, although it looks like, you know, something that is not the southern main road. What about coming here during the night? Think you can handle it? Also, you need street lighting, so you'd really have to be careful to make sure you're staying on the road and not playing around, because you'll end up in the water. Make sure your vehicle's in good condition too, otherwise like that guy have a breakdown. And even if you have towing services, to get them to come all the way out here, wow, you would have quite a wait. Now you can see how it had roads to the left there, and on the maps it looks like if those are access points, but they are not. They're private property. They have names and all. Now check this street. All these cows on the road, and they look like they know where they're going, huh? I don't see any handler. and they're cool with it. And these two didn't follow it, or they're taking their own path. Interesting. This is the kind of thing that I love to come to the country areas to see. You're not going to see this elsewhere. You used to see a lot more of it when you go to places like Mayaro and Guayguari, but even in a recent trip there, when I say recent, a few months ago, a year ago or so, I think, I didn't see any of that. So it's really built up now, lots of concrete. Again, modernization spoils all the natural things that you like to see. But by the way, all of this is Icacos. And in case you're wondering when we're going to get to the beach, we're going to get there really soon. Check how that coconut tree is leaning. It probably would have fallen, but the other coconut tree caught it. And again, I don't see any street lamps, so I can only imagine what it's like to come out here at night. And witnessing those cows traversing on the road is a good indicator that if you did come out here, you would have to have good lights and move slowly because animals could be crossing. And this particular road is not for the newbie driver, because not only you have to go all the way to the left in order to avoid hitting somebody, but there are potholes all across the road. So at one, sometimes you might be trying to avoid a pothole, and then somebody's coming, and you could get in an accident if you don't know what you're doing. So, like I said, pass through these areas without a set of speed. Of course, there might be people who are extremely slow, and you have to pass them, or they stop to do whatever. But the nice thing about trips like this, as I've said in my other videos, is the anticipation of wondering where this road will take you. What's at the end of the line, as it were. So when you start to see this kind of built up area after all that green, you know you're in the Icacos village itself, and you know you're very close to the shoreline. Because the nice thing about down here is you can access the entire ocean easily. So there's a nice little spots here. I guess they have some guest houses or whatnot, because if your intention is to really explore down here, I can't imagine driving all the way from a fire like if you live in Santa Cruz and you have to come here. Wow, you probably would want to stay the night and do whatever you have to do, explore, get up in the next morning, explore some more, and then you can head back home. So they have their own recreation grounds on the right. They have their own tower for phone. Electricity looks like it's plentiful here. They have their own mosque. They left there. I don't recall seeing a masjid. This, yeah, they don't health center and stuff. So to start, we decided let's go straight, and by going straight, this would take us to the ocean. This is not. I mean, there were people there bathing in the ocean, but I think this particular place is more like for fishermen. But unlike other videos I've done, there aren't all these restrictions. You can't go here, you can't go there. You know, like up north, if you know, it's kind of like open, and basically just go wherever. Nobody's stopping you, nobody asking you any array of questions. So you could practically just come on the beach and head straight to the ocean. It's like, I'm actually driving right now on beach sand. And right there in the ocean is a Coast Guard ship. So they will be monitoring activity. And I spent a little while there recording whatnot. I have another poster for that, which you can make sure to look out for. It's like I said, when I make these stops, I make a separate video for it. I'm kind of speeding up here, waiting for my family to get back into the truck. And as they do, you can have a look at what village life is like, I guess, in this area. See how the clouds pass, the wind blows. I thought that gray cloud might have caught us, but it didn't. Again, luckily we were able to experience no rain. I can tell you there are people in this area. Some of them are, you can tell, are immigrants, and they live in poverty, I would say. I don't know to what degree, but they look like they could use some help. This seems to be more or less a fishing village. You see that wooden house on your right? That is what you would see a lot in the countryside. When I was growing up as a kid, you would see a lot of wooden houses like that. Now it's not really the case. So we're gonna turn left here and continue looking at Icacos. And while doing so, you'll get a bit of village life. One thing every village makes sure to have, if they have nothing else, is a bar. It's like that is like a life vessel for some people. I don't drink at all, by the way. I don't know, do you? This bridge was very interesting. Very small. The dogs seem to be like not interested that something was behind them. That's a school on the right. And the coastline is on the left. You can't see it because all these trees are blocking it. But wherever there's an access point, we're going to go there and enable you to see it. And again, it looks like it's going to rain, but like I said, that we are because we are so close to the ocean, that those rain clouds, they continue onward and I guess go to Venezuela. You can see how when the cloud blocks the sun, you see how everything appears without much color, dark, gray, bland. You can see the cows on your right. Just taking a look at them. Sometimes, we like to stop and just look at the animal life or trees or something. Sometimes my wife will take a picture for her own channel. And no, that's not a set of rain coming out. That's just like a little drizzle or whatever. Took that off one time. It's this farmer leading his cow. This area, this place is so interesting. Just the way it's laid out, the trees, whatnot. Very, very interesting to look at. It's a Catholic church out here, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. A lot of people in Venezuela are actually Catholic, so it's a good place of refuge for them to come here and have a church or whatever waiting for them. All right, so we're going to turn left here, I believe. Where are we contemplating? Do I turn left there? Yeah, I turn left there. You can't see it readily on the video, but we're seeing a lot of immigrants in this area. Oh, so there's a mandir here. We saw the masjid. Now we have a mandir. Now this takes us to the shoreline, and then this part here, I'm not sure what they use this for. This ocean, this coast, this beach looks like it's also used for fishing, but it didn't have as many fishing boats. Now, in case you're wondering, well, look, checking out that bird there on the left, and it had some interesting birds here. They're very rare, not birds that you would see up north. And I also made another video for it. So we try to take a picture and you see it moved off. Look at the tractor. As we get to the center, it will clear up. The sun will come out more bright. So you can see the coastline. I don't know if from the video here you could see the mountains. Very, very, very faint, but that's Venezuela. If you can't see it, no big deal. This is really to the end, southwest end of Trinidad, Icacos. So what we're going to do is turn around here, and in this particular area we recorded some birds or a bird particularly that was flying around us. It was very interesting. I can't say whether that ocean there is for swimming or not. I guess you could. And if you did, you would have the whole beachfront for here. One thing I noticed is not a lot of people here was bathing in the ocean. Can't say if the reason for that. If it was too rough or whatever. So we stayed here a little while recording that, and you could see how the sun changed. Then we continue our journey. Now up ahead in that mud pile there, that mud patch where the tractor came out of earlier, I don't know what happened if the tractor's wheels, pulled up anything, but there were some beautiful birds there, and we stopped to take a picture of it, or a photo of it, or video it. And as the lady there that appeared, check out JB's man cave for other stuff. I don't only do road trips. I do have videos about other things too, historical places, other places around the world, the Ukraine, Sri Lanka, India, some of the places that I've been highlighting of recent. I have other countries too. Just bringing it all together. Interesting stuff. Always on JB's Man Cave. Brought to you in a way as though you were there with me or you and I were talking about something and we're discussing it together. That's the whole idea of it. And feel free to go in the comments area and give in your own points. Once you're not degrading anybody or putting on somebody, I will always approve your comments. I do read all the comments and personally decide whether to approve them or not. And I would say about 90% of all the comments are approved. You always have the one or two that are trolls that, just want to be harsh with people, say unkind things. If you're in a digging, that's my phone messaging system giving me some notification that I have messages. I'm not checking out now though. So following this road, we are more or less following the coastline as well. And anytime you see me stop and reverse like that, because I'm catching something. And in case you didn't know, this is Icacos Beach Road. And of course, that's a very good name for it, because it does follow the coastline, the beach line. And again, you have all this immense green. This area for me, great for jogging, running, cycling. The only thing I would not do is do this at night. There are warnings, by the way, interestingly enough, of wild animals. So you have to be careful. Because, of course, a lot of the area is underdeveloped and there are a lot of wild animals. I don't know what kind of wild animals, but you could already think of caiman, hogs. We have a wild cat, not as big as a mountain lion, much smaller. The name escapes me right now. Bob, it's like a bobcat. Anyway, just be careful if you do come down here. Don't traverse the green. Most of the green actually anyway tends to be private property. So where we're going to now is another video I created. This is Coral Point. And the road, this road, oddly enough, is supposed to veer right and take you other places, but it heads straight into the ocean. And in that particular video, I talk about that. So I hope you enjoyed this road trip. This gave you an idea of what Icacos, driving to Icacos is like. To actually see the beaches, make sure to look for my other videos. If you appreciate the time that has been taken, hours and hours of driving and hours of talking and editing to bring you this video, please do become a patron and support my site monetarily.